Thank you for taking out time for today's session. And I'll request you all to please switch on your cameras so that we can see fellow humans. This is a limited interaction that we have with each other nowadays. So it's okay no matter where you are sitting. We all can understand. Thank you so much. So today's session is on sleep. So I'll not start by saying what are the benefits of sleep, because people get bored with that. We all know what are the benefits of sleep. So I thought, why not try the other way around? Why not tell you what happens when we are not sleeping? One disclaimer that I would like to give before we dig deeper into this is, whatever today I am going to quote in this session is entirely based on science, scientific studies. Nothing is just taken out of internet university or WhatsApp university. So all are relevant facts based on scientific proven research. So you can count on that. You can be rest assured that everything is proven and nothing is hearsay. Okay, so before we begin this session, I would like to put a question to my audience here. How many of you sleep less than 7 hours? So if you sleep less than 7 hours, please write 6 in the chat box. And if you sleep more than 7 hours, 7 to 9 hours, please write 8 in the chat box. Okay, thank you so much for reverting. As I can see here, couple of people, Sirisha says she sleeps for 8 hours. Very good. Give a pat on the back. You deserve that, because that's what we should be doing. Satyam said 6 hours. Well, we'll take it forward. We'll see what else we can do about it, how we can improve. And please be focused on today's session, because there are some important takeaways for you. Okay, Rishabh says 8 hours. Very good. Pat on the back. Ashish says 7.5. Fair enough. It's good. Ruturaj says 8. Gopinath says 7. Okay, great. So we have an audience here but everybody is sleeping on time. That is a great thing. Okay, so let's just start with the session. I will be presenting my screen and sharing some interesting facts with you. So this is our today's topic. It's sleep and health. Like I said, we will not talk about benefits today. We will talk about what happens if we are not sleeping for 8 to 9 hours. That is our window. Nothing less than 7 hours, nothing more than 9 hours. So this is going to be our discussion points. First, we will talk about sleep and immune system. Why I took this topic, sleep and immune system, because there are important takeaways. Many of us are getting vaccinated for second dose, now getting ready for the booster dose. So why you need to sleep, so that your vaccination is helping you towards building immunity. Second, we will be talking about sleep and central nervous system, our brain, how it reacts if we are not sleeping. What is the correlation between sleep and weight gain? Why some people gain weight if they are not sleeping? Sleep and cardiovascular health, which is very important. I'll be sharing an important case with you. If you are aware of Mr. Ranjan Das, he was a CEO of SAP. When this case came out, it was a big headline. Every newspaper, every media agency was covering it. He was such a fit guy. He used to work out, eat healthy, but still at the age of 42, he got a massive heart attack. And the reason was lack of sleep. So we'll discuss that also. Then we will talk about what is the prevention. How can we deal with sleep deprivation? What can we do? What are the useful tips? So let's get started. Let's talk about sleep and immune system first of all. So it's not that, first of all, let me tell you, it's not that only humans that sleep. So nature has designed it in a way that even plants and even animals also sleep. They also need sleep. It is such an integral part of our well-being and our life. So when we are sleeping, it's not that the light bulb goes off, we fall into our sleep and that's it. We don't know what is happening around us. But many complex things are happening inside our body while we are sleeping. So when we sleep, our immune system basically sorts things out. So it sort of think of it as a military, as an army. जैसे border पे military army deploy होती है along the LOC. So when we are sleeping, our body is making the immune system, making the immune cells and deploying them at the checkposts so that when infections come, we are ready to fight them off. When we are sleeping, so body is making all those things happen in the body, making us ready to fight the bacteria and the viruses. There are certain type of cells that are known as cytokines. I'll not go into that detail, but just for informing you all, these cytokines, they are very integral for our immune system. They also, along with fighting the infections in our body, they also help us to go to sleep. They aid us into falling to sleep because then they will do their work in the background while we are sleeping. And what happens if we are not sleeping? What happens to the immune system? So sleep deprivation prevents our immune system from building its forces. So it is as simple as that. If you're not getting enough sleep, our body may not be able to handle stress or foreign invaders when they come, because not sleeping creates stress in the bodies, and that raises all different types of hormones, mainly cortisol, which is not good at all, not good for our overall well-being. So when we are not sleeping, so basically our immune system is getting depleted to a stage where we cannot fight simple infections also. So I have an important video here, please have a look.
We know that individuals reporting less than 7 hours of sleep a night are almost 3 times more likely to become infected by the rhinovirus, otherwise known as the common cold. We also know that women sleeping 5 hours or less a night are almost 70% more likely to develop pneumonia. But we've also discovered that sleep can play a role in your successful immunization. So in one study, they took a group of individuals and they limited them to 4 hours of sleep a night for 6 nights. And in the other group, they gave them a full night of sleep each and every one of those nights. And then during that time period, they gave them a flu shot. And they measured the response to that flu shot. What they discovered is that in those individuals who were sleeping just 4 hours a night, they went on to produce less than 50% of the normal antibody response. So in other words, if you're not getting sufficient sleep in the week or the days before you get your flu shot, it may render that vaccination far less effective as a consequence. What this tells us, and now what we're starting to learn, is that it's during sleep at night, including deep non-REM sleep, when we actually restock the weaponry within our immune arsenal. We actually stimulate the production of numerous different immune factors. And furthermore, the body actually increases its sensitivity to those immune factors. So you wake up the next day as a more robust immune individual. So when it comes to your immune system, you should perhaps think of sleep as one of the best health insurance policies that you could ever wish for.
So this is why it is more important now, after we are grappling with this pandemic, that we give sleep the due regard and due importance that it deserves. It doesn't hold just true for the flu shot that is mentioned in the video. It holds true for all other immunizations, including our COVID-19 vaccination also. So if you're not sleeping, because many people came to me after their second dose, month after their second dose, and they told me, we got the shot, we got both the shots, but I still got the infection. Why? Vaccination doesn't guarantee that you will not get infection again, but it does guarantee the severity of the infection. So if it's going to be severe, there are reasons. It shouldn't be severe because we have already immunized our body, already vaccinated our body, injected the virus, dead virus, in a quantity so that body can recognize it, and when next time we get infection, there should not be any huge reaction. But you just saw in the video, if people are not sleeping properly, we are not going to get the desired effects that we want from our immunization. So we saw about immune system and sleep. Now let's get to the central nervous system. So what is happening during the day? We may have really bad experiences. We may be under stress, we may have a fight with somebody, we may have a heartbreak or something. When we sleep, our brain has a tendency to naturally iron out those creases, iron out those experiences, bad experiences. So when we are sleeping, our body is automatically making us feel better in a way. That's why sometimes when we are not feeling good, there's a saying, sleep over it. That's why we say it, because our body naturally tries to iron out those creases, those bad memories or bad experiences during the day, so that when we wake up, we are a little better in a way to take better decisions. And sometimes when we sleep and when we wake up later on, whatever was bothering us seems trivial. We feel that, okay, it was not such a big deal, whatever I was feeling, it's okay, it's better, and you are ready to forgive certain people also. Why that happens? Because when we are sleeping, our brain is forming memories, channelizing memories, making new information, what should be stored in the subconscious mind, what should not be stored, what should be put in the waste bin. So when we are not sleeping, we are actually making our brain exhausted, because there is collection of so much of information which may not be required, which may be unnecessary. So it puts a lot of mental burden on your brain when you are not sleeping. Obviously, when we are not sleeping, we are putting so much burden on our cells. Our mind gets clogged, we feel little slow, we can't concentrate like we want to do. If we are working on some project, if we are doing some creative work, we'll feel that I have this mental slack, I can't think, I'm just having this blackout. It's because we are tiring our brain, that's why it is happening. So you feel that mental sluggishness. And because we are tiring our brain, our body, there are chances that you will have delayed responses to the situations, which might lead to accidents. People who drive to work, they might find that their reflexes are a little slow, which might be lethal, which might be dangerous, because you can collide into other people's vehicles, or there can be bad accidents also. That's why it is important. Sometimes we see people, everything is going perfectly in life, still they are irritable, still they are in confused mental state. They have those emotional outbursts. One moment they are happy and perfect, and next moment you will see that they can't simply take a joke, or they seem irritable. They don't want to talk to people. They have mood swings. Why it is happening? It's also happening because of sleep deprivation. We are tiring our brain, because see, at the end of the day, brain is also an organ. So it also, and the organ that is working continuously even while we are sleeping. So what happens when we are sleeping? Our heart rate slows down, our glucose metabolism slows down, our digestion slows down. But brain is an organ that is still working when we are sleeping. So it is such a important organ in our body, and if we are not giving it the rest, we are not sleeping during the night, letting it sort things, letting it put things into waste bin, letting it put things into subconscious mind, then it is bound to get tired, and we will have difficulty in decision making and creativity. And now here is here's an important experiment that was carried out. Let's listen to that.
48 healthy adults were divided into 4 groups. One group was sleep deprived and had to stay awake constantly for 72 hours, a situation called total sleep deprivation. The other 3 groups were allowed to spend 8 hours, 6 hours, or 4 hours in bed each night for 14 days. When they were awake, cognitive performance for all participants was assessed every 2 hours for every day of the study. This means that they were asked to perform simple tasks that determined their levels of alertness and attention, and their ability to process information in working memory. At the end of the 14-day period, researchers found that the participants who slept only 4 hours a night made significantly more mistakes in performing their assigned tasks than those who slept longer, implying lower levels of alertness and information retention, about equivalent to the level of participants who had gone 2 full nights without sleep. Increased lapses in attention were evident after only 4 days of sleep restriction. Participants who slept 6 hours a night also performed increasingly worse in their assigned tasks as the 14-day period went on. At the end of the 2-week study, this group showed impairment that was as bad as participants who had undergone 1 night of total sleep loss. In summary, this study determined that consistently sleeping less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night results in a continuous decline in working memory, attention, and alertness.
Why I am quoting these studies is because if we talk about other studies that involve blood pressure or cardiac risk or your diabetes risk, that can differ based on the race. Because those studies are usually done on white males or females or people from other ethnicities that are different from Indians. But when we talk about sleep, there is no such thing that this study won't apply to Indians. It will apply to Indians, and as we saw that what happens if we are not sleeping, we may not notice it on day-to-day basis, but when we are not properly sleeping, what we are doing, tiring the brain, losing the capability of doing the simple tasks that we do on everyday basis. So initially you might not notice it, but when you become aware, you yourself know that, okay, why am I doing these silly mistakes? So if you are in project management, you are making codes, or if you are in financial sector, you will notice that you are doing certain silly mistakes. Why are they happening? It's not that you are not knowledgeable, it's not that you are not experienced. It is happening because our brain is getting tired. Let's see further.
Now this is an important factor, sleep and weight gain. So here is a question to all of you. What do you think will be the reason of weight gain when there is sleep deprivation, when we are sleeping less? What do you think? Any rough guesses?
Hassan Sheikh says acidity. Okay. What else? Any other thoughts? What can cause weight gain if we are not sleeping?
No other thoughts? Okay, thank you Hassan for night snacks. Exactly, bang on point. Ashish Sharma. Anita, hunger. Yes, right. So what happens? When we talk about weight gain, we talk about many other things, but nobody talks about 2 main hormones. I'm not sure if you would have heard of these 2 before, but the 2 main hormones that play a very important role in weight gain, in sleep deprivation, otherwise also, are leptin and ghrelin. Leptin is a hormone that tells you that, okay, you don't need to eat more, you are full, stop it now. Ghrelin is the other hormone that tells you, you are hungry, you need to eat something. So leptin tells your brain that you have had enough to eat, now there's no more need to eat. And without enough sleep, what happens? The brain reduces this leptin, and on the counterpart, it increases the ghrelin, the hormone that tells you, you need to eat. So ghrelin is basically an appetite stimulant. And the flux of these hormones could explain that what happens when people are awake, say beyond 11:30, 12. It is common for people to feel hungry. So when they are feeling hungry, they will open their fridge or the pantry and they will snack on whatever comes to their hand. That is the reason of the weight gain when we are sleeping. Because what happens when we are sleeping, that is our biological clock. That is the clock that tells us, okay, you need to go to sleep because I have important tasks to do now. I have to sort memories, I have to look into the immune system, how is it functioning, I have to look at the cardiovascular system, what damage has been done during the day to the blood vessels, to the heart. At that time, when you are eating, you are actually burdening your system, your whole body physiology. You don't have to eat at that time. But when we are doing that, we are burdening the system, and system gets confused because we have our internal clock, circadian rhythm that we call it, which goes in tandem with the daylight. So when it is daylight, so there is wakeful cycle. When the sun goes down in the evening, the other hormone called as melatonin, it raises, signaling the brain that now you have to take it a little slow, it's time to sleep. Let's see further. So what happens? It causes body, when we are snacking at the night time, it causes the body to release less insulin when we eat. Now we know that insulin is very, very important for regulation of our sugar metabolism, of preventing diabetes. And when we are snacking in the night time, it causes insulin resistance. Basically, the cells are not responding to insulin. So for example, if insulin is knocking on the door gently, the body will open the channels, let insulin in, let glucose inside the body. But what happens in insulin resistance? There is a loud bang. It's continuously banging and cells are not responding. They are saying, no, will not open the door. So that is known as insulin resistance. Sleep deprivation increases the insulin resistance in your body, which causes diabetes mellitus and obesity. Let's listen to another interesting video here, another interesting study.
36 healthy volunteers were brought into a closed unit for 2 weeks. For 3 days, they were each in bed for 9 hours, affording them the opportunity for a good night's sleep. They were then randomized into one of 3 groups. The control group was put in bed for 9 hours a night, which sounds lovely. One group was randomized to sleep deprivation, 5 hours in bed at night. The final and most interesting group was randomized to sleep deprivation, but they were allowed to sleep in on the weekend, so-called recovery sleep. I love this design. A good control group getting lots of sleep, a sleep deprivation group with a fairly restricted schedule, and then a real-world group representing what so many of us actually do. I know from experience, dude. Here's my Fitbit data for the past week or so, showing I typically get around 6 hours a night, but I had one glorious Sunday where my lovely wife let me sleep in. It's probably not enough. The researchers wanted to know how sleep deprivation and recovery from sleep deprivation affects our eating habits. The results were really fascinating. First, sleep deprivation didn't have a profound effect on calorie intake. All 3 groups ate a similar amount of calories on a day-to-day basis. Despite that, the sleep-deprived people seemed to gain a bit more weight, around 3 pounds over the course of the 2-week study. But why? Similar calories, more weight gain. The researchers point out that after-dinner snacking was dramatically increased in both sleep deprivation groups. In fact, after-dinner snacks accounted for more calories than breakfast, lunch, or dinner in these groups. Why does that matter? Well, these people were eating when their bodies thought they should be sleeping. The researchers confirmed this by measuring melatonin level. You can see in this figure that the time of biological night, that's between the 2 arrows when melatonin is peaking, occurs well before the participant got in bed and lasts well after they are woken up. In an email to me, lead author Dr. Christopher Deppner pointed out that in rodent models, eating during biological night leads to more weight gain than eating the same calories during biological daytime. So that may be the crux of all this. When we sleep deprive ourselves, we snack, and we snack at the worst possible time.
On this video, what is happening? People who are not sleeping on time, maybe because they are surfing the mobile, maybe they are reading something, maybe they are watching back-to-back series on the Netflix. After a certain period of time, they feel hungry.
And they eat at the time when they should be sleeping. So they are confusing their body. And when we are confusing their body, our body is not working efficiently to digest, to utilize that meal, leading to complications like weight gain. Let's see further now. The important organ, cardiovascular health. How sleep and cardiovascular health are related. So when we are sleeping, apart from other things, apart from sorting memories, strengthening our immune system, working on our central nervous system, what is happening? Our body is repairing the damage that has been done during the day. Maybe because we got angry, we raised our blood pressure, there was some injury caused to the blood vessels. So the body is tending to those vessels, tending to the heart and repairing it. But people who do not sleep do not get enough time for their body to repair their cardiovascular organs, their arteries, their heart internal structures. So that's why insomnia can cause massive heart attacks in otherwise healthy people that may seem healthy, perfectly fine. We have one such example that I shared early on with you of Mr. Ranjan Das. He was a head of SAP and everything was perfect. He was doing gymming, he was running marathons, eating a very healthy diet. Still at the age of 42, one fine day he just succumbed and he had gone for a gym workout, and he had a massive heart attack and he died. And interesting thing here is he was aware that he's doing everything else perfectly fine, but he's not able to sleep. And it is on quote. There was an interview with NDTV. They had a series boss day out, and he was quoted saying that on the same channel. Let's have a look at this.
Our boss today, Ranjan Das, heads the India operation for very renowned SAP.
That brings us to next segment, sleep and hormones. So testosterone, as we all know, is a very important hormone for male health. That is made, or production is usually happens when we are sleeping. So you need at least 3 hours of uninterrupted sleep for this hormone to get produced in your body. It is so important. And people who are not getting uninterrupted sleep of 3 hours, they lack this hormone, leading to many symptoms. The common symptom that I've seen in patients is male pattern of baldness. So what happens is there is the hair fall related to it. So as we saw, waking up throughout the night could affect the production of testosterone. So before I go to prevention, I would also like to tell one more thing that I have not included in this presentation here is, we all know we have waste systems in the body, right? So here is a question to everyone. What are the waste systems in our body that you are aware of? So here's the question again. What are the waste systems in our body? Yes, rightly said, excretory system. What more? What more do you think is a waste system in our body? Through which are, yes, sweat, stress, any more? Urinary system, skin, nose, nails. Yeah, perfect. So what about the brain? What do you think? Brain has a excretory system of ridding the toxins. Whatever we are doing during the day, whatever experiences we are accumulating, do you think it's getting collected somewhere in the brain? Do you think so? Yes, no, maybe? Yes. So a newly discovered excretory system, toxin removing system of the brain, it is newly discovered one. It is called as glymphatic system. So before that, it has been discovered some 4 or 5 years back. Before this, scientists thought that we have urinary system, we have excretory system, we have skin through which our body rids toxins. But brain doesn't have any such system. But now the scientists have discovered that brain also accumulates toxins over the time, over the day, over the activities that we do. And it also needs cleaning, and for that brain has a system known as glymphatic system. So what is the fascinating thing about the system is it functions at its best when we are sleeping. So when we are awake during the day, it's doing its work, but it's not that efficient. But when we are sleeping at night, and especially when we are sleeping on side, not on prone position, this system works more efficiently and it rids the toxins. That one important toxin is beta amyloid, accumulation of which causes Parkinson's disease, dementia that we have heard of. So our brain is systematically removing this toxin out of the body, and that happens efficiently when we are sleeping. So leave aside everything apart. Leave aside the cardiovascular system, your immune system, your central nervous system. Think about this one thing, that how important it is for you to sleep, because your brain is ridding itself of the toxins, and that is very, very important. We can't let it accumulate. So let me tell you one more thing. You may think that dementia is not so common in India. Well, let me tell you, 85% of the people are not diagnosed with dementia. They go undiagnosed. They have the symptoms, but they don't come in the eye. They don't reach to a healthcare provider explaining their symptoms. So we are having this pandemic also of dementia, and we are totally unaware about it. So can it be a relation that maybe because of sleep deprivation that all this is happening, and maybe because our healthcare providers are not so, concerned? How many of you have gone to a doctor and the doctor has asked you about your sleep pattern? So when we go to a doctor for a simple thing, for an acidity, for a heartburn, or for say any other thing, how many of you have experienced or heard your doctor inquire to you that how is your sleep? Have you ever seen this thing happening to your relatives, maybe in your close connection or somewhere, people asking about sleep, doctor asking about sleep?
Yeah, they do ask. The first thing they ask, like, you go to a neurosurgeon, neurologist,
Okay.
or the first thing they ask is sleep.
Good. I'm so happy that somebody has asked that question to you. But my personal experience is that they will ask you zillion of other symptoms, but they don't bother to ask you about sleep. Maybe it is true that you have experienced that, but I have experienced that they don't pay that much attention to sleep, and maybe that's why people with dementia are getting underdiagnosed. They are not getting the proper care that they need, right? That can be a reason. Hassan, thank you so much. Thank you so much for answering.
Even like, the lifestyles, like, that includes alcohol and other
Yes.
intoxicants, that is a main,
That also leads to dementia. Yeah, that also leads
that's
to
the
dementia.
main reason.
But sleep is equally important reason that we are not aware of, because normally we don't pay attention to sleep. We don't think it is that important. We don't think that like food, like our physical activity, sleep should also be an integral part of our health. And if we talk about Ayurveda, there are 3 pillars of your well-being. So one is food, one is brahmacharya, that is altogether different correlation, and another one is sleep. So sleep is 3rd pillar of your overall well-being. So let's move further. Let's see what we can do to prevent this. And here I will take up few questions that people posed. So the best way probably to prevent sleep deprivation is simply, right, to sleep, to go to bed. It seems so simple, right? What you should do basically, if somebody is having trouble sleeping or insomnia, they should limit their daytime naps, especially when you are feeling sleepy after you have lunch. So avoid going for daytime naps. Don't do that, because that will impact your night sleep. Exercise regularly, but don't do that before the bedtime, hour or 2 hours before the bedtime. Don't do that, because that activates your brain. That makes the adrenaline rush, and so you will not feel sleepy. Refrain from caffeine. Don't take coffee or caffeine or green tea before sleeping, say few hours before sleeping. Don't take alcohol. Now this is tricky. What happens when people take alcohol? Initially they feel sleepy. They feel very drowsy and they feel sleepy and they go to sleep also. But that sleep is only for 2 hours. After 2 hours, when the glucose starts to break down in your body, you wake up. People wake up and they find it hard to go back to sleep again.
So limiting alcohol before bedtime is also important. The other thing is sleep at a regular time every day, because what happens then, your body clock gets automated like that only. It is following a routine. So if you sleep every day at 10:30, try to follow that pattern only. Try to go to bed at 10:30 only. 10:30. And wake up at the same time also. If you're waking up at 6:30 in the morning, try to wake up at 6:30, because you are conditioning your system, your brain, to follow a pattern. And as I said earlier, brain follows a pattern because we have a sleep cycle, wake cycle. So if you condition your brain as per your timings, then you are automatically going to go away from sleep deprivation. You are going to go forward towards a restful sleep.
The other thing is avoid a heavy meal. So ideally you should have meal 3 hours before you go to sleep. So you give your body enough time to break down the food, to do its work. So at least 3 hours gap you should have between sleeping. And some people say to me, some patients say that, okay, if we take our dinner 3 hours before, then afterwards we feel hungry at the bedtime. What should we do? So the answer is, take handfuls of nuts at that time. Take a glass of warm milk along with cocoa powder that we have, because that has magnesium in it and that will help you sleep. You will not feel hungry also, and that is going to help you gain a restful night's sleep also. The important thing, refrain. Yes.
Sorry, so repeat what did you say along with we just couldn't hear it.
So I said, try to have your meal 3 hours before bedtime. And if you think that you feel hungry by the time you go to sleep, take a handful of nuts,
Okay.
nuts, walnuts, almonds. Take a handful is enough. We think that, okay, ये तो बहुत छोटे से हैं, but they are enough for you to feel satiated, to give your body energy so that you can sleep through the night. The another thing I said is you can have warm cocoa milk. I'm not talking about Hershey's chocolate. No, I'm talking about cocoa powder that we get in the market. It is rich in magnesium. So magnesium aids in sleeping because it relaxes your muscles, it relaxes your brain. So it is a natural remedy that we prescribe to people that say that we have insomnia and hard time trying to sleep. So you can do that also. Because certain people are deficient in magnesium. So if you supplement them with magnesium, one way is taking the tablets, taking the capsules of magnesium. The another way is taking the natural foods that are rich in magnesium. So one food that I said is cocoa powder that you can take. Try going for an organic cocoa powder that is not adulterated with any other thing. Does that answer your question, Ashish?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
This cocoa powder is the same as chocolate powder or this is it?
Yeah, it is a chocolate powder, but I'll not suggest the one that Hershey makes, drinking chocolate liquid. No, it should be in a powder form.
Okay.
You get it in Amazon. Try going for a organic one.
Okay.
Because it is often adulterated and mixed with other things. So if you go for an organic and reputed brand, then it is good for your health.
Okay.
So the other thing is having a sleep hygiene or a sleep routine. So what we do in that, we have certain activities that signal your brain, okay, now get ready for sleeping. So there are a couple of things in that. The first thing is you change into your night clothes. Specifically, keep a set of night clothes that you wear every night for sleeping. You keep them. Make a sleep playlist. Take a warm, relaxing bath before bed. Try reading a book, any book that you find interesting. Try meditating. So these are the activities. Say for example, if you have to go to bed at 10:30, you start doing these activities at 10 o'clock. You are basically training your mind that I am going in a relaxed mode now because we are going to go sleep now. We are not going to binge watch any TV serial. We are not going to surf through the mobile. We are going to sleep now. So these are the basic cues. Our brain performs better when we give it cues, signaling it, telling it that, so this is the roadmap, we are going on this path. The another important thing that you can do is called as abdominal breathing. What is abdominal breathing? It is basically you put one hand on your belly and you put another hand on your chest. And you just notice when you breathe normally, what rises more? Is it your belly or is it your chest? Ideally, it should be your belly. But no problem, if that is not happening already for you, you can consciously try to lift your belly more than your chest. So you take a deep breath, raise your belly, hold it and let go, breathe out from your mouth. So basically you do this. So you do 10 cycles of these. You are relaxing your body, you are relaxing your mind, you are giving it a cue that it's time to sleep. Abdominal breathing works good for people that find it hard to sleep at night. Somebody asked me that what to do in situations where you have stress, and because of stress you have this continuous tape going on in your mind, you can't sleep. For that, the best thing to do is journaling. There I can take an entirely different session on journaling and its benefits, but because I don't have that much of a time, so I'll tell you here, journaling is wonderful for stress management. When you are journaling, you are writing things, and sometimes it happens that you write things that you are not aware of. Sometimes you write solutions also. So you are doing a mental detox basically when you are journaling. So do try journaling if you have stress. The other thing is we have coloring books for adults also. They are also very relaxing activities. When you start coloring, you are relaxing. Some people get bored also and they fall asleep. So you can try these things also. So that brings me to end of this session. I am open for questions if you have any, and if I have not answered.
Hi, Supreet.
Yeah.
So my question is like nowadays in IT companies,
Okay.
we work late night shifts, sometimes core night shifts.
Yeah.
So to cover that night sleep, like we sleep the entire day, like from say morning 6 or 7 o'clock till say afternoon 4 or 5 o'clock. So we cover 8 hours of sleep during the daytime.
Yeah.
So what precautions or what to be done for night shift employees to get that perfect sleep, or is it possible to get that kind of perfect sleep sleeping for daytime?
So what you are telling me is called as recovery sleep, when we are not sleeping at night and we are sleeping during the day. Ideally, it's not going to benefit you like the night sleep does, but I do understand because of work restrictions, the work schedule is like that you can't help it out. You can't sleep at night, you have to sleep during the day. So what I will suggest is, you can't change the job, right? So what I will suggest is, maintain a time limit. If you are sleeping during the day, maintain a time limit and follow that schedule only every day. If you are sleeping at 6 in the morning and you're waking up at 12, follow that time only, so that there is no more confusion to your brain what is happening in the body. You can't change your job, but you can follow a pattern so that body tries to adjust to it. So the only suggestion will be, follow that pattern. Don't switch, don't change, because then it is going to be counterproductive for you. Okay, any more questions? Somebody said some yogis claim they sleep only 4 hours. Do people who do yoga meditation? No, it's not like that. So I can't comment on yogis because it's altogether a different profession basically. But yes, you need 7 hours of sleep, 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Anything less than that can have detrimental effect on your health. Like we saw, even a single day of sleep if you miss, it's going to impact you, it's going to hit you big time. So no, people who that meditate and that do yogas, they also need 8 hours of sleep. And on yogis, I can't comment on yogis.
Yeah, but then it's like 1/3 of life we are only spending on
Yeah. See, that's the interesting part. 1/3 of our life we spend sleeping. So nature has designed us that way, right? So there must be some merit to it. Why the nature has designed, not only humans, animals and plants, cyanobacteria, they also sleep, fungi, they also sleep, they also have a sleep cycle. So it is important.
Sometimes, we feel like, I don't know about others, but I have heard it from many that, this itself is a stress. Like, okay, I'm sleeping for 7 hours, 8 hours, I'm only on bed, and then I have so much to do in my to-do list, and then I'm not getting the time. So how do we overcome that?
So the first thing is, like I told you, you start training your brain, you provide cues to it, right? You cue your brain that, okay, when I'm changing my night clothes, it's time that I'm going to sleep now. When I'm doing, for example, belly breathing, I am preparing my body, my brain, that I'm going to sleep now. If I have stress, if I have confusion in my mind, I'll not take that to my bed, because like I told you, we spend 1/3 of our lifetime sleeping, and that too in our bedroom. So bedroom is also very important place because that's where we sleep. So make your bedroom a peaceful place. Dim the lights. Invest not on anything else but on heavy blackout curtains. And don't go to bed if you are angry. First deal with that emotion. First do journaling. First write it out. Do a walk. Light walk. I'm not asking you to run a marathon. But don't take that anger, that frustration to the bed, because then you are not going to sleep. You are going to toss and turn all night. So figure out ways, try journaling. It helps many people. Many of my patients found it helpful when they did journaling.
So, I
probably I heard somewhere that a powerful short nap in the afternoon also
Yeah.
helps you fresh and keeps you fresh for the rest of the day.
Yes.
I mean, what do you suggest on that?
So powerful nap, daytime nap is
Okay, but it should not be more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has to be for 10 minutes and it should not be compensatory for your night sleep. That is a separate thing. Night sleep is important, but if in the daytime you can take a power nap to refresh yourself, your brain, but it should not be more than 10 minutes. You can do that, it's perfectly fine.
Sure. Just one more question. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into a schedule when I go to bed at 10 and get up at 5:36 in the morning to take a walk.
Okay.
But sometimes it's difficult to go to sleep because of wandering thoughts and all that. So how do we control that? How do we tell the body to go to sleep now?
Can you please explain again? You said sometimes it is difficult because of?
Some thoughts and
Okay.
some in the back of the mind.
Yeah, so I'll suggest journaling for taking out your thoughts. Because when you are journaling, you are writing down, and I'll suggest you use a pen and a paper, a diary. I'm not asking you to do it on your mobile or on your laptop. Specifically, go the old way. Go to the market, take out time for yourself. Think of it like a self-date kind of a thing. These things may seem very trivial, but they hold a deep meaning. When you're doing things for yourself, go take time, find a diary in a supermarket or wherever, a stationery shop, find a pen, keep that entirely for journaling. Keep that for troubled times when you are not. Ideally, I suggest that if you said that sometimes it happens, I'll suggest that every night you journal before the bed. Every night you record your thoughts, let it flow. And one more thing that I learned from our trainer, it was a wellness trainer. She told us to make mandalas. I'm not sure if you are aware of what a mandala is. So mandalas are basically designs that we make in a small roundabout this size. You take paper, half. And then with a black pen, you make designs in it. You make a square with a scale and then you start making designs. I'll write it here. You guys can Google it afterwards. Mandala. So you try doing this also. It also has a calming effect on your brain besides journaling. When you are making those designs, it is automatically calming your brain. So 2 things you can try. One is, in fact 3 things. One is you can try journaling every night. You can try mandala making. Please Google it afterwards, the workshop. Or I'll see if you are in the group. Are you in the WhatsApp group that we have? Moving towards happiness, I'll share it there. I'll share the whole technique, how it has to be done. And the 3rd thing is you can do belly breathing.
Yeah, that we told this.
Yeah, so you can do that. Thank you so much. Yeah. Any more questions?
Yes, I have one question.
Yeah. May I know who is on the line?
Yeah, this is Dementia here.
Okay, yeah.
I just want to know, like, for new parents, right?
Yeah.
Like, small hours of sleep is a challenge at night.
Yeah.
So at that time, does afternoon sleep help, or like, how should we take care of our health during that time? Because that time, 7 to 9 hours is impossible.
So new mothers, it's a big toll on their health because they can't sleep. One suggestion that I would give to, it's not very common in India, people don't practice it, but it is a big suggestion. And I recommend this, that don't do co-sleeping. If you have a room available, please put your child in that room. Don't do co-sleeping. Don't put your baby along with you. When you are doing co-sleeping, basically you if you are letting your child sleep in the other room, you are basically training your child also to be less dependent on you. But initial couple of months, I understand. 6 months, 7 months, your child should be with you. But beyond that, please try to keep your bed separate. If in the same room, if you are sleeping in the same room, try to keep don't practice co-sleeping. Try to keep the crib away from your bed. And in that case, definitely you can't sleep whole night. You can do afternoon sleeping. We can't avoid that because it's how nature is going to take its process. Newborn mothers find it difficult. So stick to that time if possible. And if it's not possible, because I understand baby is young, so you have a very erratic kind of a day planned, erratic timetable, you can't help it out. So try to at least sleep for 6 hours, minimum 7 hours in the daytime, if possible. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah. So put the baby separately, not on your bed. Okay, so I think we are good to go. Is oversleeping good for health? No. We have a time limit. That's why we said from 7 to 9. Beyond 9 also you can't sleep. It is also counterproductive for our brain, because then we are, putting additional burden on it in another way. So excess of sleep is also not good for you. It makes the brain dull, as we say. So less sleep also makes brain exhausted. More sleep also makes brain exhausted. So therefore, that reason there is a cycle. There is a sleep and wake cycle that we need to follow. So 7 to 9 is good. Anywhere between 7 to 9. So thanks a lot. Thank you for attending this session. I hope it was insightful and it will help you in gaining some sleep, some restful sleep. Thank you so much.